you gonna get free this time? Falling into a blue sky mind. Came to me in that song.
Hello and welcome back to You, Me, and the Elephant with Deb Air. And
Crystal Clear.
we have a question for you today, folks. And the question is this: do you like money? So those of you that are like, just like Crystal was, today we're going to talk about money. And we're going to hopefully bring alive aspects of money in a way that could be serving to all of us, including the two women on this episode right now. I will confess that we're going to do an exercise, so stay with us, that I have no idea how I'm going to answer. And so there's going to be probably a little bit of vulnerability in this, but we're hoping that you'll enjoy it and that we will receive something as well along with you in the ride or along the journey.
We always do. Oh my
do.
goodness. I'm slightly
we?
sweating. I'm sweating just a little bit. So I'll give everyone
Just
a
a
visual.
little bit.
Like when you said, do you like money? I pictured one of those money machines like shooting money at us. And, so, and then I had an oh shit moment like, oh God, there's like the
Were you like
other
just
side of
naked
that.
rolling around in money?
I know. That's one version of me. That's one of my answers for the question exercise.
And then suddenly like all the money's gone and you're just standing there naked.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. Both are true. Yes.
Well, I'm going to attempt to present money right now in a way of what is the actual utility of money. Obviously, we have different forms of money in the world, and we're also moving into this digital age of money. But regardless, whatever form of money that you utilize, money is a form of exchange, right? It gives us a value. It helps us access value in the world, and it helps us access experiences, things, security, all these different things. So if you have a certain amount of money that has a value, it gives us an idea of what kind of access we have, what things we can buy, what things we can experience in the ways of travel. This is such an interesting conversation because there are so many obvious aspects to money. Like, of course, I've got a buck. This is how much money I have or don't have. And there are so many, I think, unsaid things when it comes to money and how we have all embedded little experiences of our own relationship to money. In this world of social media and massive overload of information, many of us have great access to seeing things that people have. We have access to everything, right, in the world. So whether it's a location that you go, oh my God, I've never seen a waterfall so pretty with such blue and green colored water, or we see all these things that spark maybe an inspiration in us, a desire in us. And at the same time, it also has this feeling like, here, you should have this. This is what life should be. Or all of the experiences of what a happy life looks like on the internet. And you should have this. And if you don't have it looking like this, or you don't have it as abundant as this, then you are missing out. So we have this culture that we've produced of extreme want. As many of us know, it can be something that never really gets satiated, or it can really bring up a lot of potential less than qualities or feelings, or never can get to something.
Yes.
You know, you can never get to the enough place, right? So that's kind of the culture we're sitting in. And then we have these experiences of money is the root of all evil, and money doesn't grow on trees. And I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I could feel the judgment in regard to people that have a good amount of money. And often there can be a judgment that people that have money are not quite as kind, or they're not as generous, or they don't have as much philanthropic desire to help the world. And we're not here to say that this is any of these things are true or not true. We're just saying that those are the things that exist in our culture, and we have imprints of that. Some of us also have this experience of, I certainly did in my childhood. I feel like one of the things I learned about money was that you work hard for your money. My parents both worked really hard. And when we were little, one would work the night shift. My mom was a nurse, so she'd work the night shift. They literally like two ships passing in the night, right? My dad would work during the day and then he'd come home and my mom would go to work. And I really learned that you got to work for that shit. You got to work to be able to supply and support your family. So there are many different stories that exist. And I think that now is as good as time as any to pause for a moment and consider what your relationship is with money. And I have been on my own journey of this for quite a while. What is money to me? And what does it mean to me? And what are the habits that I have that are even, I think, even more unconscious than conscious of how I relate to money, how I receive money or don't receive money, or make money or don't make money. So we're going to do a little exercise. And I feel that for some of you, this may be right on par. And for some of you, this might be really new. Because I think it's very easy to take money as something that is just in your wallet. It's something that's not personal. I think that whenever we can bring something alive and make it more meaningful, we can start to discover what's underneath that for us and how we relate to that thing. But when it's not personal and we're just using it as an ends to a means.
And I think we all can picture what money has to do with it based off the feeling we had, the feeling I had when you said, "Do you like money?"
Yeah,
So
right.
much more came up immediately, just like besides the paper money or the coin money or whatever. It's a
Yeah.
juicy topic.
It is a juicy topic because I think that there is definitely more edge and more trigger than we even realize when it comes to that. So it's our attempt today to bring more humanity to something that we may not apply humanity to. Like I said, it ends to a means. And I think that there is potentially a lot of either self-judgment or false sense of security or nervousness of not having security,
Mhm.
and a lot less like personhood or spirithood, let's say, in our relationship. So I think it can really reveal a lot about ourselves. So we're going to today do an exercise with money that I learned a few years ago. And we're just going to go for it. Okay. So, what we're going to do is Crystal is going to be money. So, she
Holla.
has tried out for the character of money in this play that we are doing. And I'm going to be telling her as money. So, she's no longer Crystal, she is money. I have no idea what I'm about to say.
$100 bills, y'all.
Yeah, and you may in this, and we really invite you to do this with a close friend or a family member. So Crystal's going to be money, and I'm going to tell money everything I think about her.
Mm.
It can be a him or a they too. And after I feel complete with that, money is going to tell me how it felt to receive the information that I shared. And at the end of this exercise, if there's anything else that I want to share with money, I will. And then we'll swap. So, okay. So, Crystal is money. Money, money,
Mm.
money,
That's right.
money.
I love it. Love it.
Well, I want to say that I am grateful for finding more love and more connection with you over the years. And I'm grateful for getting to know you. And there's times I know that I spend more time with you and I attend to you in a way that I would only want to attend to a great friendship or connection. And I can even feel the emotion right now. I also feel those parts that I know that like I slip into old default mechanisms and I like just fucking ignore you. And I remember, gosh, maybe 5 years ago now, I had been doing this exercise. And as a small business, I have had this little bit of resentment of how much money I have to pay the IRS. And I realized that I wouldn't think of you when I was paying bills. I wouldn't even consider that you exist. I was just pissed that I had to give you away, but it wasn't out of respect for you. It was, this is just a little side note of this exercise, but a lot of our beliefs around money come from our childhood, whether what we've experienced with our parents, was there a big divorce that had to do around money? Was there just never enough of it? What did your parents think about it? What were their opinions? What were their feelings? How did that land? And so, money, I feel like I had a little bit of that and still do, where I feel like I didn't respect you in the way that, like, I'm supposed to have you because I've worked hard for you. So I deserve you. It's so funny because I don't consider myself materialistic, but it's almost in a very materialistic way. Like, I don't want to give you away. And I remember, again, about 5 years ago, realizing, oh, I need to learn how to hang out with you. And I remember it was the best time I ever had collecting information for taxes because you were right beside me and you were like, listen, I'm just happy you're letting me hang with you. I'm just happy you are respecting and honoring me because I am this representation of how you have access to the world. And paying the IRS or paying bills is just a way that's saying you have enough to be able to exchange with the world. And I am here right along with you. And as you release that, what do you call that? Tithing, as you release me and you love me, like just in a relationship, just like in a person to person relationship, as you let me do my work, I will always be here for you. So when you're paying a bill, let me do my work. Be glad that I'm freaking here to pay that bill. And I know that there are so many times that I put you off in my business, being overwhelmed. You were the last thing I looked at. I didn't relate you to love. I didn't relate you to anything of meaning other than making sure that I could have a roof over my child's head, that I could have food, that I could have some fun along the way. And I was prideful of that, but it was like I separated caring for people and helping people in my business, and I didn't include you in that conversation. And I'm sorry for that. And sometimes I wonder why you haven't given up on me, because even now I have lists of things I have to pay and I don't get excited about that. And I have to keep remembering that you love me no matter what, whether you are going out doing work or whether you're coming in and I'm receiving you, that there is an exchange between you and I. And I'm just asking for your patience. And I'm really sorry how much I have ignored you. And in not appreciating you, somehow I feel like I was not appreciating me.
Mm. How does that feel? Do you feel like there's anything else in there?
I feel like I want to have a ritual that allows you to show yourself to me more, meaning that I feel like it's taken a long time for me to even say I want to receive more of you, and feel like I have to pierce through the identity of if I'm a good person, if I want to help people, and that I shouldn't necessarily make too much money, because then somehow I flip over to that person that if I make a lot of money, then I'm somehow not as good or not as kind or not as giving. And even though I know that's bullshit, and why I ask for your patience is that I can still feel that wiring, that I put a ceiling on how much time we can spend together. And I put a ceiling on how much you can come into my life. And yet I am more and more feeling and understanding that the more I let you in my life, the more I actually can help people. Because the one thing I don't question about myself is the integrity of my heart. And that the more I have of you, the more I can actually bridge the world and help the world. And yet I say that, and I also feel like there's this invisible cap that I put on you. So I'm wanting more time with you. I need to get to know you, whether you are leaving my life and going out and doing your work and I'm paying a bill, or you're coming into my world. And I'm also wanting to give you space. So I realize that some of the places that I haven't looked at in my house and that have clutter are also, I feel like it's a way that I sabotage you from coming into my life. So I'm sorry.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think complete in this moment.
Well, thank you, Sister Goddess, for sharing money to me.
You are money.
And so, would it be helpful to, as money, reflect back what I heard, or is there a different step to this exercise?
So imagine you as a person is our money. So
Mhm.
you're just going to share what it felt like to hear all those things about yourself and how I feel about you.
I was afraid you were going to say that. That's a tricky one. This is what I'll say first, that if we think money is separate, the experience I just had on the receivership of this, there's no fucking way it's separate. Like, it is us. We are money. Money is us. Like, there is this exchange. It is very intertwined. It is energetic. All of that is what I could receive representing money, and you speaking to me as money. It almost felt like there was this Morgan Freeman commercial that kept popping up in my head that kept going, "That's how it should be." You know what I mean? And I kept going, "Wait a minute, but I've never heard that before." I never heard, like, money spoken to in that way of being invited in, actually giving an honorable role. It almost, like, took the slutty off of money. It was like, "Oh, I have a job to do, and there's this equal balance." I have a lot of
So,
layers for me being money, receiving those words and trying
so
not
you should,
separate, you know?
yeah, well, you should respond to that.
Oh,
You
but
just
I
said some really powerful things.
oh my gosh, it almost felt like washing money. How about that? Then I'll say that what I could receive is representing money for you and listening to the way that you were rewriting your story, right? You were having a new conversation. I'm just trying to be in your share and receiving your share. Instead of bringing up all of my stuff with responding, I'm really trying to hold the space and the mic for you that said, it felt like what you just did was a ritual. And it was a cool
It is. We're
ritual
doing
to
it.
do, to
Yeah.
reflect in a very vulnerable way. And it showed how you're already rewriting, you're already doing it differently. This was not the first moment. You're already doing it differently. You're inviting in more and you're practicing that desire that you have with money. And it was very refreshing and cleansing to hear as money. How about that?
So is that your response
That's my
or?
response. That's
Oh,
my
okay.
very long response.
Okay.
Now,
Got
if
you.
you want me to, if we're switching it,
Yes.
and I'm speaking to you as money, then I feel like I would have a different perspective to add. But that's what I was trying not to do because my brain wants to do that. And I'm like, wait, just honor the container that I was receiving
It's
your
almost like you have to
money.
imagine that I'm just talking to you. And I just said all these things I feel about you, Crystal, and
Yeah.
you're just responding. So it's weird. You are,
It is.
that's
It's
what it is.
well, I think also what is very telling for me is how separate I keep money. That was really hard to receive. It really was. I kept going, don't derail, because that's what I do. I am compartmentalizing or whatever. What an interesting exercise. And everyone else get ready.
Here we go.
So yes, here we
Yeah,
go.
it's no small thing. And just to be honest, when I thought about doing this, I started tearing up before we recorded, before you even came on, Crystal. And I know that sometimes it comes up when it comes up. I'm saying that there's a lot in there for me. So I have been working with money as a spirit, as a soul for quite a while. And there's still so much heartache. Like there's times where it's like even hard to say, I want to make more money. Like
Mhm.
that is hard for me to say. And then I just have to ask, why is that? What do I want? And so there's the concepts of what I'm growing into. And then there's like the pile of paper I have and being like, why the fuck are you ignoring that pile of paper? Why have you found this new that you think perfect account? Why did it take me so long to even call this company? Because I'm ashamed. Because I feel like they're going to look into my business and being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so much there. It's a really important conversation to have, is all I'm saying. And I can feel it deep down in my cells. And I think that there is so much in how we live our life that is ruled by our relationship with money.
Absolutely. That's yes. And I'm witnessing it too with young people getting ready to venture into the world. And what does that mean to be successful in the world and all the things?
It messes with me, and I think it's messing
Yes.
with you.
It's
Like,
definitely messing.
even at the beginning of the conversation, all of a sudden I got like white noisy in my head. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel ashamed in some way. And it made my brain almost like money came in and was like, you
Mm-hmm.
can't try to own this conversation right now. You just
Not when
can't own
we
this.
not when we let money represent so much of who we are and how we are in the world and the meaning that we give to that. Like that cannot be ignored, not good or bad, not right or wrong. That is an honest moment to really take that in of almost wearing a t-shirt of how valuable you are based on how much money you have or how well you save or what you do with the money you have or how much money you earn. I mean, like how many people compare paycheck to paycheck? Were you a 5-figure or 6-figure person? Oh, does it really take two to survive? What makes you qualify for low income? There's really is an interesting cloak of clothing to be wear.
Right. Unless you bring it alive, does any of this come out?
Yes.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you could live off grid. You could live where you can have access to life
Uh-huh.
and things that you value without having a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? So it's not even, you can have a ton of money and be seriously unhappy, right?
Yep.
So this is not about the amount of money you
Yeah.
have. This is about what is your relationship with money
That's right.
and what does it feel like when you are receiving and what do you do with that? Because if you have goal after goal after goal and
Mm.
it's just not even really your goal, it's some childhood fear or it's the fear of missing out of the want culture, then it'll never be enough.
Yeah.
And that's because you have no relationship with money
Yeah.
or your relationship with money is consciously is minimal. It is just an, like I said, an end to a means. And if the or mean to the end or whatever, end to the means.
One of
I
those.
don't know
One
what
of
I'm
those
saying. This
phrases.
is how much is messing my brain up. You know, the want culture, you never will have enough, right? So you'll never have enough money to do the thing, or
Mhm.
you could lose it all. This is really about how you relate to money as a way to live. What do you feel about it? What do you think about it? How does it relate to the abundance of life itself? And that's another conversation, but we're going to go into your exercise. So I'm money, and Crystal is going to tell me I am no longer Deborah. I am money, and I am going to attentively listen to Crystal tell me what she thinks about me.
Woman, I cannot look at your face and do this. I want to be unfiltered. I want to slap money in the face right now, but not
Say it.
not you,
No,
Deb, but
just
money. I do. I want to
just
slap money
say
in the
it.
face. There's something about money. There's something about you, money, that pisses me off. Oh my God. I don't know what it is. It's a cocktail too. It's a mixture of I want you and I hate you all at the same time. It's there. I need this middle ground. Maybe it's the fact that I feel like money has power over me. Maybe I feel like you, money, have power over me, that you dictate my life, that you put value on my soul. And you're this big ass judgerator to what other people think. How do I stack up? What does my life equate to thus far? Is it good? Is it bad? I feel like money might be dirty. And it needs to be washed and cleaned. Getting out those first roller coaster vibes on money, I definitely get also a quick reflection of how much power I give to money, how much power I give you. I also am seeing blame. I blame you. I'm putting all of this on to something that is not doing anything to me on purpose. So now I feel like I'm in the tangly web in the middle. And then on the other side of that is an invitation. I can see a little crack in the door that says, I want that to be different. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to get like this hot flash every time money joins the conversation. I don't want to get this like response of defense as if I got to fight something or I have to prove myself or do something. I would much rather have the relationship of equal exchange, of knowing that the work that I do, living in the world that we live in, that it requires an exchange, a monetary, maybe tangible, touchable exchange, being able to honor that that's a two-way street and one is not more powerful than the other. So I'm less familiar with going through the invitational door. I'm less familiar with that door, but it is tempting and I do desire to have a new, less reactive slap in the face response to you, money, honey. And I love you. Mm. How you like that?
Do you feel complete?
Without going on a tangent of something, there's oh, the old soft feelings. There's just a vibration of forgiveness. The more the merrier. I just feel like this cleansing that's needed both sides, this mutual washing begins with the forgiveness, and that's joining the conversation.
Thank you. So, as money, I'm going to do my best to share some of what's coming up for me. It really plagues my heart to feel how you feel about me. And I feel I'm just so often misunderstood. I feel like the world has painted this picture of me in a way that doesn't represent who I really am. When I feel like my whole reasoning for existence is to remind you of your true abundance, but somehow the world has pitted us against each other. But I'm just your access to find more of you. And I will always be here for you. I love when you talk to me, and I've been wanting for you to talk to me for a very long time. I want to let you know it doesn't have to be so hard. I want to let you know you can be mad at me and I'll still love you. And I want to let you know that no one owns you. And that's my job, is to remind you that no one owns you and no one owns me. But when we work together, we find the abundance of life itself. We find the memory of the vibrance of who you are together. And I will always be here for that. You can let me in your own pace, in your own time, and you can dance with me naked. You might realize that I am here to serve you. I am here to love you, and I am here to grow you, to grow the memory of you and the love of you. And I'm so sorry that it has felt like my presence has made you feel dirty, or has made you feel less than, or has made you feel less powerful. Because if you talk to me directly, and anytime you do, I'm going to remind you how powerful you are. And I too love you. And I hope that you spend more time with me.
I will. The door is open. I see it now. That was awesome. I have to say, that was really cool. And
Can I ask you a question?
yes,
Is there anything, I realize I didn't do this, but is there anything that you want to say back to money now that money just spoke back to you? And it's okay if it's no. I'm just curious.
without the details of the history or the why, it was just a really clear yes, thank you, doors open, will do. You know, the whole thing feels easier, a lot easier.
Awesome.
Indeed. Thank you.
Ooh, talk about.
I was going to say how revealing that was to be able to respond in that way. And then for me, when I was trying to respond, it was so separate. Money was so separate. I could not even mesh the two. I'm like, nope.
You couldn't embody money.
I'm
Yeah.
responding as me. This is me. Even though you're like, your money. I'm like, Like there was just this thing that was happening. And then to hear my response, I was like, well, no shit. No wonder that did not mesh. And it always blows my mind. That is a type of embodiment, just having the conversation, going through a ritual, a practice, an exercise like that is so powerful. So thank you for the invitation.
I feel like unless we can, like you said, it's so revealing of unchecked pain, I think. For
Mm.
all of us. And I was listening to somebody who has like a 7-figure business, and everybody's like, you don't have a problem with money. You're bringing in all this money. And she's like, yeah, but I don't feel fulfilled. And when she realized that she needed to get connected and get underneath some of the emotions that are there, like you didn't even know that was
Yeah.
there. You couldn't even pretend to be money because
Yeah.
you fucking hate money in some ways, right? It's
Yeah.
like, don't
Yeah.
even, they're so separate from me. It's in a
Exactly.
way, it was like an enemy.
Yep.
Yet it's this unhealthy relationship. I love you. I hate you. I think we all can relate to either having fear potentially around money or shame. I mentioned that for myself, or unworthiness or embarrassment sometimes, or guilt. I'm still not fantastic about it with my business. Would I just not have my fees? There was this span of my business where there were an insane, embarrassing, I'm embarrassed to say this, amount of years where I never increased my fees. Yet inflation was like going up. And I was like, what is that? Do I hate myself? What is going on? But there's so much entanglement in this. And I think that what happened at the beginning, I couldn't even really define money because I was like, yeah, this is what we're going to talk about. And then I'm like, la, 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 la. There's so many tracks we could go down on this, but right now we just wanted to be authentic with you and throw ourselves in the money chamber
Yeah.
and see what happens. So I will share this. I am relating to money in ways of some of the very logistical. Yes, I have to pay my bills. How do I have a roof over my head? So there's this security aspect of how money can help you with security.
Mhm.
Now, it's not guaranteed, right? We're just saying these are some of the gateways in which you can explore money with. The other is what we were just noticing, which is the emotional relationship. What are some of the emotions that come up for you around money? And then the one that's very entangled with that is, what is your identity? What is your mindset? What is the culture mindset around money? And those things that even if you don't say them all the time, like you start to believe them,
Yes.
right? And it becomes an identity. And then there's the connection as money, as energy, as a spirit, as a soul. That is just a way, it's just one gateway or vehicle that holds the energy of abundance itself, right? So if you can use it as a spiritual guide that just is a way, whether it's $1, it doesn't matter how much, it's about how are you relating to money as energy, as a spirit, as just one representor of receiving the abundance of your life. There's many different ways to play this or spin this, but the exercise is a real powerful one. As you can see, I have done this exercise several times and I still have like this vibration underneath, maybe because I'm also doing it publicly. And then actually being money was really powerful because I felt what you were saying and how that felt in my heart to feel how you felt about me
Yeah.
as money. So do with this what you will. I really don't know what to say other than thank you for those of you that stayed with us. We're really curious, as always, what you may have on money. And in this case, this conversation,
Yeah.
we're happy to hear it. And we're happy to ask you, are you available to let money come alive enough to be able to see what's your relationship with it? And how can you enter into maybe a deeper conversation?
Mm. And I'm going to piggyback off of that because there's a part of me that very much can hear this podcast or hear this exercise, but not actually do the exercise and mentally feel like I did the exercise. I'd be like, oh, I understand that concept. That makes sense to me. But I would skip the step of doing the exercise. And I am inviting, encouraging each person to actually take this step. And Deb, will it only work if you have another person? Do you recommend someone? What if they got another person and they don't want to? Can this be written down and like write down to money, have money write back down to you? Or do you feel like it's more powerful to definitely have the receiving person be money and reflect back?
Well, I think that's a personal choice. My personal choice would be to have a real person with feelings, because when you bring to life money as a living, breathing energy,
Mm-hmm.
if you're the person listening, I mean, you want to do it with somebody. You want to have a sacred container between you and that person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not feeling like that's a safe thing to do with that, don't do it. But if
Right.
you are in a container with somebody that you trust and that you can actually both do that for one another,
Yes.
that would be a choice, because being able to ignite the feeling helps bring money alive. And I think doing that third part of like, is there something else that came up now that you actually heard how money actually feels about all this stuff you feel about her or him or
Mm-hmm.
it?
Mm-hmm.
And, did something shift in you? Is there something that you want to share? You certainly can write it down. You certainly can look in the mirror, but I highly suggest doing it with a living, breathing human.
And that's what I'm saying, to do it. Don't skip it. Do this exercise. My experience in this has been surprising. It really did. And I'm grateful for it.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. And again, I've done it several times and it's different every time. So our experiences were different, but it'll continue to evolve when you spend time
Yeah.
with it. Maybe you do a money exercise once a month with a friend. Like, okay, it's time. Top of the month. Let's do this. Let's
Maybe
have a
you go,
conversation.
maybe you go to the bank and cash $100 in ones and roll around naked in your money after all. Who knows what's going to happen after this? Just be in the car, like
That's
throwing
right.
it all over you, rubbing it in your hair, like, oh.
Well, it's interesting. Like I said, I think for me, there's been like almost I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable if I have too much money. If I've ever had $100 bill and I'm like, what is that saying about me? Or what is that
Mhm.
saying about the limitations that I have on my relationship? So thank you for listening. Thank you for witnessing this exercise together that Crystal and I shared. And we hope that you do the same. And we are grateful for this opportunity to do just this, is to share more about some of those, well, hidden little gems. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until next time.
Bye.
And now, Trevor
All
Hall
found
with Blue Sky Mind.
through the body. It's hidden through the